Hello, welcome back to Hype. So we are answering crowd questions right this moment. So thank you for joining us. If you saw this week, there were some government hacks and data breaches that were discussed. But I have to really kind of take a pause here and just say, come on, guys. Obviously this was going to happen. We have, for a long time, neglected the security of our nation and the internet and its capabilities, right? So so we're actually at an internet version where we should have adopted the new one years ago, which will hopefully protect against security and all that. But here's the thing, most of the internet and how our phones work and all of that isn't actually done via the internet. It wasn't like 40% or so, Facebook, Instagram, and all that. That's actually something completely different. So we have two different things here, both of them vulnerable. And so it's not surprising that there was a way for somebody to come get in and get to this one over here. So the government hack, I think, is going to be there's a couple different questions that arise with that I want to just go ahead and address, and it was who. Well, okay. First off, we've been worried with healthcare data hacks for years. That's one of the highest groups that are constantly being penetrated. Since COVID hit an all-time high, data breaches are expensive in healthcare. But imagine how much that data and what they're doing with it could be worth. And that's what I want to kind of put into your head. So China, for example, to answer the question, was one of the ones. It looks like Russia as well, and there are a few others. The breach piece it should scare you guys because with this being so early on, we don't know what the data could be used for, but we do know that we probably don't have the right data just yet. We don't have enough data. So what I'm saying is that if what we're learning is all of this data is that we are collecting is compartmentalized or maybe skewed or not longitudinal, and just false altogether, there could be a chance that people hacked us and got fake data. So maybe there's not a complete negative to that. That's kind of a different funny issue. They're actually talking about the time frame. When did all this happen? How did they get in? And well, guys, we've been getting hacked for years, and that's a pretty common thing. It looks like, though, based off the timeline, it was right after the big infection that happened, the outbreak, when even many that worked with intelligence and these government agencies that were protecting us, that they were no longer allowed access or privy to their secret labs. So we actually had a time there where the people that were protecting us and stopping the bad guys, they too followed the same guidelines we did. So that would have been the ideal time for someone to slip in on that, and take control. And that's the thing about it, and that's what's kind of scary to think about, because working with some of these AI groups and these groups stopping the bad guys, they aren't allowed to publish their results. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of companies out there that you guys probably wouldn't have any idea even did this type of research, Batman type stuff in the garage, but they're putting a lot of money into this. But the second that they introduce their findings, such as at the Super Bowl is a top place for sex trafficking. So if they label that these are the three main points that people need to keep their eye on and publish that, well, then people are going to change habit. So there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than what we know and what we're allowed to know. However, it's not good that these groups do have access to this, because what it could mean in the long run is not that they're going to have your information, so they're going to know your name and your birth history and in any of that, and that they're going to sell it on the black market. I mean, that's not the concern here. Really, the main concern and what I'm most concerned about with most hacks, particularly doing hospital healthcare administration and focused on that for so long, it's what if somebody gets into your hospital and holds you hostage during a robotic surgery? right? That's a real thing, and that has happened, in some of these groups. Maybe not quite as dramatic, but when these groups come on, they have the chance to do that. So if they knew that you, for example, were had certain issues, perhaps COVID related, and they were able to influence the care that was given, that could actually be very detrimental. So the fact that we were hacked is not surprising, unfortunately. We also have had change of leadership multiple times, both within the cybersecurity world and the president himself. We've also had issues, reported with the polling and some of that internally. And so, we're at a time where everybody's working from home. Everybody's, getting hacked from their computers. So you guys need to be careful. Your COVID results and all of that you're going to be reporting on. Make sure you're using a certified, accredited piece of technology. Don't just use some tool that they give you out of a box that doesn't do anything. You don't know where that's going. Use something that you trust to store, in not your head. Okay. So yes, the government hack was a problem. I believe and I trust in our government that we're doing what we need to mitigate it moving forward. However, again, we're still seeing a lot of changes internally within leadership. So we'll see what we need to do, but that did happen. And the U.S. government data and most things COVID related for the past several months has been leaked. So again, a lot of data points that we have the wrong data and we did it wrong. So, maybe we just led somebody on a wild goose chase, or maybe it was meant to be that way for a reason. Something to think about. So anyways, thanks so much for joining us, and hope you have a wonderful day.